This is a special report from WDHN News.
Well, it's that top of the hour forecast that we give you here at WDHN with our First Alert Storm Team. I'm meteorologist Matthew Wine. With me is meteorologist Oscar Fan, well-known man here in the community. So glad to have his expertise with us. Now let's take it straight over to radar so we can show you guys what's going on with Hurricane Sally right now. This storm moving inland. Now it's already made landfall earlier this morning right along the Alabama to Florida coastline, and that's why we have all of these, because over the past 24 to 48 hours we've seen so much rain here. We have all of these flash flood warnings. A lot of them, Oscar, are going to, or at least right now, expected to end in the late afternoon, early evening hours. And then also this tornado watch that we have out right now is ending at 6 o'clock. Oscar, you were here before I was earlier today. Let's give another wrap up to everyone what we've seen.
Oh man, so many things to talk about, and they all point toward much better situation for us. We'll talk about what you mentioned last, the tornado watch. That goes into 6, that will be reformulated. But the Storm Prediction Center that puts these watches out has even mentioned in a discussion from a couple hours ago that the threat for southern Alabama is extremely minimal. In fact, the last warning was a Doppler, and in fact they all have been Doppler indicated tornadoes. They have been short-lived aloft. None of them have been confirmed on the ground, and the last Doppler indicated tornado warning was down in the Florida Panhandle between I-10 and Panama City. That was at 8 o'clock this morning. The slow movement of Sally has helped diminish the tornado threat. And really, for the rest of the afternoon, even though you see southern Alabama and southwestern Georgia in it, any concern would be probably from the Alabama-Florida line down to I-10. But again, they will have watches, like tornado watch, all the way into probably tomorrow morning. But right now, it's not a potential problem. It looks like for, let's just say it's not a big problem.
It's a lesser problem.
What we're worried about is the rainfall and the flooding.
Absolutely. So considering the flooding, we've had a few reports here. We've got one in Donaldsonville, right around 84 and Tenille Avenue, that intersection. There was a report of flooding about 20 minutes ago, maybe 30 minutes ago. And then we also had one in Dothan. I'm going to try and show that picture later on. I just put it on my Twitter, and we've got it also up on our other social media outlets. It's MatthewWine_WX. You guys can see that there is a Jeep that drove into an intersection and where there were flooded roadways. And we always say, turn around, don't drown. And that's the easiest way to make sure that you are not putting yourself in a bad situation and it overturned.
A lot of high-profile vehicles have a tendency to think they've got a free ticket because they're higher off the ground. Low-slung cars have a tendency, if you go across a flooded street fast, that water may get up into your engine and conk it out. But high-profile vehicles think, well, I've got a free pass, I'm off the ground or whatever. But as you can see, it doesn't take a whole lot of water to stall your vehicle off or more or less make it immobile.
There's one right there, yeah. And I don't know where this one was. I saw it a little bit earlier this morning.
But notice these are dirt roads.
Yes, dirt roads. One of the main concerns here, of course, paved roads are always better. Now, they do get slick and it's dangerous, treacherous conditions, but it's the dirt roads that typically wash away. And if you slightly veer off to one side or the other, there's usually a ditch right there. And unfortunately, you get caught in that, and your wheels, especially two-wheel drive, it's just not working for you.
And if you can't see the road, chances are you're probably okay on a paved road, but still, if you can't see the road,
sometimes
but especially if it's a dirt road, that may not be a road at all anymore. It just may be a little makeshift impromptu creek that is now taking over the middle part of that road, and you're going to find out about that as you get closer to it.
Absolutely. Hey, let's take it over to our live cameras. Durden Cam showing Troy at this point, and man, it is, I mean, it just looks nasty out there, and it's been that way for the past 24 hours.
All morning, but again, good news on that. And when Matthew finishes up his thought, we'll talk a little bit more about that radar because things are improving noticeably, especially south of I-10 down in Florida. In fact, if we will, let's go ahead and show you the radar right now that we have. Notice that to the upper part of your screen, how solid it is of the yellows, oranges, and brief reds. That's the moderate to heavy rainfall that was affecting most of southern Alabama west of Dothan yesterday afternoon into the evening, and almost all of the Florida Panhandle the last 24 to 30 hours. Notice now, if you look down in the Panhandle, all you see is really the rain bands. There's 3 main rain bands. One's over in southwestern Georgia. The other one is east of Dothan, and there's a third one right behind it. It looks like it probably will wind up coalescing with that second rain band. You're going to have heavy rain when those pass over you, and we had a heavy shower a few minutes ago here in Webb, east of Dothan. But notice down in Florida, back to the west, they're having a little bit of sunshine at Pensacola. Some of that sunshine may show up around Destin, Fort Walton. Just a few passing showers down there. Now what you see, the spin is up. Look at Andalusia. Now what is the center of what is now Tropical Storm Sally, downgraded at 1 o'clock, is for the most part in the extreme northeastern part of Escambia County in the Florida Panhandle, the northwestern part of Santa Rosa County, and it's about to cross into extreme southwestern Covington County in Alabama. It will go west of Florella, north of Opp, and east of Andalusia, and it could very well be up around the northwestern part of Coffee County late this afternoon. But the trend is the rain will start to diminish south of the Alabama-Florida line over the next hour or two, and then a little bit further north it'll diminish. And I think most of our rainfall will be over with probably in the early evening. Can't rule out showers here and there, and maybe a brief torrential shower. But the guidance this morning was painting about 6 inches of rain after from noon to the evening. I'm beginning to think that guidance now, as it comes out updated here shortly, or an hour or so, probably will be down to 2 to 4 inches Dothan southward, maybe less than that. Still activity obviously further north. Troy, Eufaula, and all that will have it. Now, Matthew would take over as far as talking about Sally.
Absolutely. The track of the storm, and this just came out moments ago, 70-mile-per-hour winds right now, so it's downgraded to a still strong tropical storm. So we're likely to see those tropical storm gusts continue throughout the area over the next 24 hours, but moving still slowly but faster than it was yesterday at north-northeast at 5 miles an hour, and that pressure coming up just a little bit. So it's finally starting to weaken. By the time it makes it to the Alabama-Georgia border there, 7 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, 35-mile-per-hour winds, that does make it a tropical depression. So that will be much appreciated, but again, we'll still have some rainfall within the area, especially eastern portions of our area there Thursday morning. Let's take it over to WX, their production, and we could show them. This was the Jeep that I was talking about, entirely flipped over on its side. 2 people had to be rescued. This sent in to us from Brandon B, and this was along, what did I say, Leona and Twitchell Road in
north side
Dothan
of Ross
here.
Clark Circle.
So obviously a very dangerous situation. Again, you were talking about how a lot of these people with higher cars or four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, they think I can do this, and it just never chance it. The best thing you can do is play it safe. Please play it safe out there, because floodwaters are nothing to play around with. Do you have anything else, Oscar, that you could think of at this moment?
No, again, quite often the deaths associated with a tropical system, if they have higher winds, would be trees that are blown over or weakened and they fall over onto automobiles or houses. And then the second one is floodwaters. And when Opal came through in '95, there were a few people that, and Alberta the year before was just a tropical storm. It dropped 25 to 30 inches of rain, east central Alabama, west central Georgia, and down in our area. And there were a couple of people that drowned because they got near floodwaters, lost their balance, and they stepped into floodwaters that came up to about halfway between the knee and the ankle, and it knocked them off balance and swept them away.
Yeah.
So
all it takes is what, 6 inches to a foot of rushing water to knock a person over?
That, and also it doesn't take much to stall out your car. But again, if we're small children, they'll be fascinated by those waters. Monitor them, keep them away from it. Same thing with your pets. They may stumble into it too. So be aware of that. Keep an eye on them as you go
and
about.
We have some video from Chipley here, and let's see if we can show that right now. Yeah, that bubbling of the water coming up along the roadways. Obviously, again, people are driving through it. Now, this may be, it looks more like a residential area, so people may feel more confident in that. But again, it's never a good idea to chance the situation. You see that water running out of the streets up onto land, and that's moving very quickly. And you can tell that it's brown, and that indicates that it is eroding the land. And it is, like you said, it is turbulent. This car driving through it, again, they're a little bit more confident because they have a higher vehicle, but
still,
it's never a good situation.
I mean, if you didn't
that.
see any cars on it and you walked out and saw the stream and weren't familiar with the area, you'd say, okay, is that a road there or is that actually a creek?
Now, I remember this was a big thing that my mom always told me. She said, if that water's brown, don't go down into it. I mean,
I'm surprised Weather Service hadn't jumped on that one. If the water is brown,
don't go down.
Yeah, because they like that.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell it's moving very quickly, and it is just tearing apart eroding the land. So, Oscar?
Yeah, I think, again, the situation will be dramatically improving as we go through the afternoon, and that will continue to be the trend into the evening. Most of our rain may be over this evening. I hesitate to kind of mention that. But again, play it safe for the rest of the afternoon. I think obviously the sustained heavy rainfall for many of us, except for points north of Dothan, is pretty much starting to diminish, especially the Florida Panhandle starting to look a little bit better, except for those 2 rain bands. And what was the other thing I was going to mention? Oh, everybody's having wind gusts in the 30s, and occasionally they do reach up to tropical storm force 39, especially over in Covington County around Andalusia, and still parts of, say, Okaloosa County down in Florida, and even up toward Troy, maybe up toward Eufaula, they'll have wind gusts in the 30s easily as we go through the afternoon. But this is moving faster. Originally, it looked like the remnants of Sally, which would be a depression, would still be in east central Alabama tomorrow morning. Now it looks like it's entering Georgia already. So I think by tomorrow morning it is noticeably improved, and it may be noticeably improved by the middle of tonight to whatever. But again, if you live near swollen streams, use some caution, and again, over the next few days we're going to have to watch river flooding.
So that last video that was sent in to us from Chipley, Reba Holman, thank you so much for sending that to us. And then Brandon B., thank you for sending that picture of the Jeep that was in the flood waters. If you guys have any storm damage photos, pictures, video, anything, please send it to us. That's WDHN News. Email is news@WDHN.com, or my personal email, mwine@WDHN.com, or on Twitter or Facebook, MatthewWine_WX. We'll have more updates for you guys later on at the top of the hour at 2 o'clock. I'm meteorologist Matthew Wine with meteorologist Oscar Fan. We'll see you later.
You've been watching a WDHN Storm Team Severe Weather Report. We now return to our regularly scheduled programming.